Hi, it's the M.L.M for the Soul channel. I do have a new topic for today. Before I begin, I just would like to say, may the words and expressions of my mouth and the thoughts and meditations of my heart find favor and acceptance before you, Hashem. So this is the continuation of the Mesillas Yesharim. I know it's been a while since I've done a video, so we're continuing to finish this up, BeEzrat Hashem, soon. This is also from the Ramchal, and it's called The Way of the Upright, or the Path of the Just. And this is the Yafa edition from ArtScroll. And again, this is what the Sefer looks like. In case you still haven't seen it yet, this is part number 110. Baruch Hashem, the last chapter, and just splitting it up into small parts so you can be able to go through it yourself and understand the information. So continuing with the last chapter, 26, called The Trait of Kedushah, Holiness. And I'm just going to continue where I left off. I can't really remember what the last thing we were discussing, so if you are kind of lost from where I'm at, then just go back to the previous videos. Okay, so now it says here, having described the trait of Kedushah and the path to achieving it, the Ramchal proceeds to summarize, as he did for all the previous traits, the factors that lead one to Kedushah and those that detract from its attainment. So that's what this is what's going to talk about. Okay, so you now see that the way to acquire this trait of Kedushah is through a great degree of abstinence from the physical aspects of the world and an intense study of the secrets of divine providence. Footnote says here that this refers to the wisdom of the ways in which Hashem guides the world, from how Hashem directs the universe towards its ultimate goal, to his involvement with the most minute details of each person's life, and how all these factors interconnect. A basic introduction to many of the topics that form this wisdom can be found in the Ramchal's Detract Hashem Part 2. I don't know where that's available, but that's what it says. And then it contains, and also about the study of the hidden wisdom regarding all the creation. And if here the footnote says, see Rambam, Hilchos Yisodei HaTorah 2:12 and 4:13. And it continues, and through knowledge of the exaltedness of Hashem, blessed be He and His praises, until one cleaves to Him with a great bond, and will know how to direct his thoughts to lofty matters of Kedushah, even while going about and dealing with worldly matters, meaning he'll be able to still stay in that frame of mind even when he's dealing with other things that aren't connected. Just as a Kohen was supposed to direct his thoughts to specific matters of Kedushah while he was slaughtering an offering in the Beis Hamikdash, or receiving its blood in a sacred vessel, or sprinkling it upon the altar, so that through this loftiness of his intent, while performing the service, he may draw down the blessing from Hashem. Blessed be He, that is the blessing of life and peace. And the footnote here says, as explained above, even the everyday actions of a kadosh are akin to the divine service of the Beis Hamikdash, and they can therefore draw blessing from heaven to this world. And it says regarding a Kohen's intentions during his service, das Tevunos 160. Okay, then it continues, but without this, meaning commentary says Ramchal uses the word this in the singular to refer to the entire range of intentions and practices he has enumerated above. So without this, it's impossible for him to attain this exalted level. And although he may have many considerable spiritual advances, he will not attain the level of the angels, but will remain physical and material like all other people. Now, what facilitates the attainment of this trait of Kedushah is solitude and a great degree of withdrawal from worldly affairs, so that in the absence of disturbances, one's soul can further strengthen itself and cleave to the Creator. The factors that undermine now the attainment of this trait are lack of the elements of true knowledge and excessive association with people who are inclined to materialism. This association impedes Kedushah, because the material dimension of the Kadosh, quote, finds its own kind, meaning it connects with the material dimension of those with whom he associates, right? That tends to be what happens, and is thereby awakened and strengthened. And the commentary or footnote here says that is, although the one pursuing Kedushah gradually overcomes his material nature by associating with more materialistic people, because his own latent materialism is reawakened. The phrase motzi et mino, which means finds its own kind, and v'ne'or umit chazek is awakened and strengthened, are borrowed from halachic terminology dealing with forbidden foods that are mixed with other foods. Although a forbidden food that has been mixed in a greater quantity of a permitted food may be nullified when an additional quantity of forbidden food is added to the mixture, in certain instances the original forbidden food, quote, finds its own kind and is reawakened, emerging from its state of nullification. And it says, for example, see Avodah Zarah 73a. Okay, and then it continues. And this leaves the soul trapped in materialism, and it will be unable to escape its imprisonment. And here the commentary says that Ramchal writes that one seeking Kedushah should avoid, quote, excessive association with people, since their material nature will awaken his own material nature, which will be detrimental to his spiritual growth. Rav Avram Erlanger in Me'or HaMesillas asks, each person is made up of spiritual and material qualities. Why do we assume that it is the material quality of the Kadosh that will connect with the material quality of others? Perhaps the spiritual aspect will, quote, find its kind in the spiritual aspects of others, and thereby strengthen his own spirituality. So he's saying, so he's asking the question, so why would the Kadosh connect with the material quality? Why can't his spiritual aspect connect with theirs? So what does he say? So Erlanger suggests that in fact, when Ramchal warns against associating with others, he does not refer to those whose spirituality is their defining characteristic. He notes that Chavos HaLevavos in Shar Cheshbon HaNefesh, chapter 3, 17, paragraph 17, in a discussion of the great importance of solitude to one's service of Hashem, makes the following qualification. Do not think that if you will associate with the wise and with those who know Hashem, you will lose the great benefit of solitude. For in fact, such associations are the greatest form of solitude. Connecting with people who are great in Torah and acts of kindness outweighs any benefit that one will receive from engaging in solitude. Similarly, Ramchal's warning here refers only to ordinary people, whose materialism is an important dimension of their essence. Association with spiritual people who have subjugated their material side and rendered it insignificant is in fact beneficial and brings one closer to Hashem. So understanding that, again, it's talking about people who are ordinary, you wouldn't want to, but if the person is spiritual, then associate with them is a benefit. Okay. And then it continues, but by separating himself from such people and remaining alone and preparing himself for the resting of Hashem's holiness upon him, then on the path that he wishes to travel, on it he will be led, and with the divine assistance that will be granted to him. His soul will become strengthened within him, and it will conquer his physicality. And it will cleave to the holiness of Hashem, blessed be he, and thereby attain perfection. So the commentary here says, with these closing words on Kedushah, the Ramchal refers back to his words at the beginning of chapter 1, where it says, true perfection is nothing other than cleaving to Hashem, blessed be he. As he explains there, man is placed in this world in order to earn this perfection through his efforts. Thus, one who attains the height of Kedushah, cleaving to Hashem consistently in every situation, has attained human perfection and has reached the goal for which he was placed in this world, right? So no matter what you do, you're always clinging to Hashem. Okay, and then to finish up here, the conclusion of the list of traits in the Baraisa of Rav Pinchas ben Yair that was discussed in the introduction reads as follows. Kedushah brings one to Ruach HaKodesh, which is divine inspiration, and Ruach HaKodesh brings one to Tichias HaMesim, the ability to perform resurrection of the dead. Unlike all the other traits listed in the Baraisa, these last two are not new levels or character traits, but rather deeper levels and higher expressions of Kedushah. Ramchal briefly outlines a general definition and explanation of these esoteric stages of connection to the divine. And that will be discussed the next time, BeEzrat Hashem. And I hope and pray they will all merit to live and see the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days and the building of the final and everlasting Beis HaMikdash. Amen. And thanks for watching.